Okay, one of the things we've got to talk about a little bit is the effects of migration on labour markets. And I think most people, when you ask them, what's the effect of migration, they kind of go, overseas workers, they come over here, they push down wages, and they take our jobs. Yeah, that would be the standard negative response. And people would simply look at something like that, and they'd say, well, look, it's obvious. Yeah, there's the quantity of labour. Yeah, there's the wage rate. Yeah, there's demand. There's supply. That's the wage rate there, W1, Q1. All that's going to happen, is that overseas workers are going to come over here. Supply will increase to SL2, and that will push wages down to W2. Or they'd say, or you might make, or alternatively, you might say, if wages don't go down, suppose that the national minimum wage, is there. Suppose that instead that's the national minimum wage. Then the increase in the supply of workers now simply creates excess supply of workers, and that's not just going to be the foreign workers that get unemployed. There'll be a mix. So in other words, there's more workers than there are jobs, and therefore local workers will lose theirs. So that's one interpretation of how immigration might affect labour markets. But of course, in reality, it's not as simple as that. So in a lot of sectors in the UK, there's actually excess demand for labour. Even at the equilibrium wage, there simply aren't enough workers available. So, what we might argue is it depends on the sector. But in fact, most research suggests that economically, migration has been beneficial, or immigration. Immigration has been has brought lots of benefits to the UK economy and to labour markets generally. So it's not the case, research suggests, it's not the case that overseas citizens come here and they simply try and claim benefits. What actually happens is that they fill skill shortages. So in the UK, large parts of the hospitality sector, hotels and pubs and so on, a lot of the workers there come from overseas. So they're not taking jobs away. They're doing jobs that wouldn't otherwise have been done. That's the argument. And hence they help to prevent inflation, and it helps to hold down the cost of living. And of course, when overseas workers come to the UK, they pay taxes. And all research shows that the impact of foreign workers coming to the UK, is there is a net plus for the Treasury. There is a net plus for the government finances. So although overseas workers and their families, they'll use the health service and the education service, they pay far more in taxes than the cost of providing these sorts of services. So what we're saying then is that inward migration, it depends a little bit on where it's coming from, but actually there are lots of benefits. By filling skill shortages and increasing the overall potential of the economy, what that can do, is it can help to shift out the economy's production possibility frontier. So overall, whilst in some sectors, it's possible that wages will be pushed down and jobs will be lost, most of the benefits, most of the research suggests that, that there are lots of benefits, and that the impact on wages is less than you might otherwise have thought. And of course, on top of that, it's not just that overseas workers are coming over here and paying taxes. There's also, of course, the fact that they will demand goods and services while they're here. Demand for goods and services, which actually can create jobs in other sectors. Outward migration has the sites. There's kind of similar effects, but in reverse. So if you've got emigration, and there are some countries where net workers are leaving, obviously the sorts of workers who are likely to leave tend to be those who are most educated, and they tend to be younger, well-educated workers, because they're the ones who can get jobs abroad. So it leads to a decrease in skills inside the country. So that can be a worry. Obviously, it leads to a decrease in your tax base, and it therefore may restrict potential growth, because you've got fewer well-skilled workers available to be able to do stuff. On the other hand, what these overseas workers often do, when they leave the country, often they will pay back what are called remittances. So it's often the case that these workers, they may only be going abroad temporarily to gain experience, and while they're there, they generate income that they pay back to families and friends back in the country itself. So migration, there's quite a lot to it, and we'll look at this in far more detail later in the course. But those are some of the things that is worth being aware of at this stage.